from Pro Wrestling Junkies, and welcome to another episode of Getting to Know a Junkie. Today's guest hails from Colorado, and his name is Doug Martin. Doug, how are you today?
Doing great. Thanks, Brad. How you doing?
I'm doing fine today, thank you. Did you grow up in Colorado?
Yep, born and raised in Fort Collins, Colorado.
Okay. Now, where is Fort Collins in relation to, say, Colorado Springs or Denver?
We are an hour north of Denver.
Okay.
And about a half hour south of like Cheyenne, Wyoming.
Oh, wow. So that's where you grew up and you live there now?
Yeah.
Oh, what? Okay, I might just I love talking to people who live like in Colorado, Wyoming, Idaho, Montana. So there might be some dumb questions.
No.
Do you see like big game often, like bears, moose?
Bear and moose a little if you kind of go up into the mountains a ways.
Mm-hmm.
I've only ever seen here in Colorado a bear, I think like once.
Oh, okay.
There's an area where when I was in college, we had to take a class up in Pingree Park. It's a area up the Poudre River, which is kind of the river that runs through Fort Collins, and then you go up into the mountains away. So we had a class up there where we had to stay in cabins for 5 weeks, and you could just pretty much every day you could see the moose just like right between the cabins, right down by the river or the ponds.
Was that amazing to you then?
Yeah, it was cool because being in Colorado, you see deer and elk, just normal every day. It's just it's a normal thing. But seeing moose, they're around, but it's more of a rare.
So you have to really kind of go looking for them to possibly see them.
Yeah.
Did you do a lot of camping growing up?
Yeah, definitely. Our vacations kind of growing up weren't, your Disneyland or Disney World. Our vacations were more go up in the mountains, go camping, fishing, things like that.
Did you guys ever go to Yellowstone?
We did not. I've always wanted to go, but haven't made it to Yellowstone.
I own Yellowstone. No, I don't. Breaking news. So it was very like outdoors lifestyle growing up.
Yeah.
And is it quiet to live?
What's that? Sorry.
Is it a quiet city you live in?
Yeah, it can. So there is a college in Fort Collins.
Which one?
Colorado State University.
Oh, okay. So a big school.
Yeah, that's where. So I'm born and raised in Fort Collins, and then I also went to college at CSU.
Oh, geez, that's convenient. Were your parents? Was this your choice or your parents' decision that you went there?
It was my choice.
Oh, okay, cool. Did you live at home or did you live like on campus?
So I didn't have to live on campus. So the first year I actually went to a community college for a year.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And so then when I transferred to CSU, you didn't have to, live at the dorm since you transferring in. So I lived at home for the first year or two, and then I lived with some roommates, some like high school buddies.
Sure.
For the rest of the college.
Yeah, I was going to say. So, did you know a lot of people like after your community college when you went there, or you knew people already?
Yeah, I had some friends, from high school that stayed around and also went to CSU.
So, what did you study in college?
I studied fisheries biology.
All right, what's fisheries? I have an idea what fisheries biology is, but it's more cartoony in my head. What is that?
So it would be like, so basically it's the study of fisheries, and where it would be used here in Colorado would be like going out and doing research on, say, like a certain lake. You'd go out and take population estimates, ID fish, so you'd kind of get estimates of what kind of fish in there, how big they are, kind of the population and things like that.
So this was a very like hands-on type of, major?
Yeah, it was so while in college you got to do a lot of cool stuff while in class. You got to
Hmm.
actually go out. We had a research lake that we would go out and we would set nets, and we would collect fish. We would there's a method that used in fisheries biology called electroshocking.
Okay.
So you basically have there's a couple different methods. One, you can have a backpack shocker. So you basically have a big like car battery on your bag on your
Okay. Like the Ghostbusters
yeah,
have?
yeah.
Okay.
And then you have like a positive and negative. So you're basically dragging like a big cord, and then you have a big pole that has like a circle on it,
Mm-hmm.
and then you turn that on, and then it sends like the like electro waves into the water, and it basically just stuns the fish for a few seconds, just long enough for basically you have someone on each side of you that then
Uh-huh.
nets them really quick and puts them in a bucket, and you just kind of do a little stretch of river or creek or wherever
So it
you're at.
doesn't kill them,
No,
just stuns them.
yeah, just stuns them.
Do you know anyone that, did the same thing and caught a fish and then fell in love with the fish on
A
a
couple.
personal level?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
probably my dad. Probably. Yeah.
I just had to ask. So did this, this studies, did that translate into a career in that field?
Um, it, unfortunately, no. For me,
Hmm.
it it stemmed into several jobs while in college, and then after college, I had a 6 month job. It's a lot of temporary jobs, kind of starting off.
Sure, sure. Like
So I was like,
projects.
yeah. So then I was the assistant to the fisheries biologist, and
Oh,
he brought in like three of us to work with him for the summer.
did he wear a lab coat?
No, we were we were
You're
all
outdoors.
we were all outdoors, just
Hmm.
going all over. And so after that, when you're trying to go for the actual like fisheries biologist spot,
Hmm.
then with my bachelor's degree, I'd be going up with people with master's degree, doc,
Hmm.
PhD. So you really have to.
Did you ever consider going to get your master's? Or were you like me, you
Um,
just got sick of school like, and you got your
yeah,
degree and called it a day?
the I was just kind of done with it. Like I enjoyed the field, but like the biology, chemistry, like all the science courses,
Hmm.
were pretty tough, and
Yeah.
you're in a classroom of 400 people and doing organic chemistry or whatever, and it's
Jeez.
pretty crazy.
Now, did you when did you become involved with Pro Wrestling Junkies?
I don't know how long. So I remember when I joined, I got
Hmm.
invited from Spencer. I
Hmm.
think in the group there was like 140 or 150 people in the group.
Yeah, and that was that was under a year ago.
Yeah, so that was pretty early on. I just joined as, just a member.
Sure.
And then it was about a few months later I joined on, kind of doing the aspect I do, like doing
Hmm.
Twitter and stuff.
Sure.
Remember there's still only 600 people in the Facebook group.
Hmm.
And at the time when I kind of was brought on by with Jacob and Spencer to kind of get the Twitter side of things going, I think there was 52 followers on Twitter.
Uh-huh.
So we're up to
Did
about 2,000 now.
that's crazy. Are you how much time are you putting in on this?
At the moment, I mean, on a day where I really sit down,
Hmm.
it could be over the course of a day, a couple hours,
Which
2, 3
leads me
hours.
to my next question. Are you married?
Yes.
Okay. Does your spouse have any issues with the amount of time you're putting in to Pro Wrestling Junkies?
No, I mean, she's kind of seen it from the beginning. She knows, that it's a passion, and she knows
Mm-hmm.
that I've done kind of my own side projects on Twitter before with different things, so she
Mm-hmm.
knows like it's something I enjoy doing, and it's
Sure.
mostly something where at work on my break for 15 minutes, I search hashtag, AEW, and I just hit the like button, or just going through, digging for
Yeah,
some
it's.
followers. And
I want to say it's like a hard job in that there's a lot to like get out, like so like I imagine that yeah, you could spend hours doing that.
yeah, especially when you're just first starting off, you're just trying to kind of grind, like trying to
Uh-huh.
get new followers. Like, yeah, the Facebook grew like it's just kind of just been blossoming, and just
Yeah,
taking
yeah.
Twitter's taking a little more time, but we get it's a lot of fun and good
Mm-hmm.
interactions with fans.
Um,
Certain events I'll do like live tweeting on Dynamite or AEW
mm-hmm.
pay-per-views, so it's a lot of
Yeah,
fun.
and even if you strike one and have one person retweet that, that's all you need.
Right.
Um, okay, we're gonna get back to your marital life shortly.
Sure.
Have you ever been arrested?
No.
Okay. Okay, that's fine. Do you have any enemies that you
I don't
know
think
of?
so anymore. Not that I know of.
Is there somebody, and you don't have to mention their name, that you don't like? Not one bit.
Not that I can think off the top of my
Okay.
head. That you got some, coworkers that drive you crazy and things like that.
Sure,
But there's
sure.
no one
I just
I'm
wanted to give
really
you an
that I really
opportunity if you did want to disparage someone or something
no, I'm
to
pretty
do it. Okay, good, good, good.
easygoing. The type of person that pretty much likes everyone.
Okay, good. The world needs that. So, when did you become a wrestling fan?
Oh man, I probably from like my earliest memories. I there's some early pictures of me probably at like 4 or 5 with like a Hulk Hogan or Ultimate Warrior T-shirt on. So like probably very early, around 4 or 5 years old.
Were your parents or did into wrestling, or did you have siblings that were into wrestling?
So my parents and grandparents, where I
Hmm.
definitely remember watching with sitting at my grandma and grandpa's house watching
Oh,
wrestling
wow.
with them back in the So I was born in '82, so like late '80s, early
Hmm.
'90s.
That's as someone who's very close to their grandparents, that's awesome that you have that. I don't know if they're alive or not, but like that you have that memory, being such a big wrestling fan, but then having the memory of like
Right.
watching it with your great grandparent or your grandparents or whatever. Um, oh, that's amazing. So you said you might have an Ultimate Warrior shirt or Hulk Hogan shirt. So your parents would buy you like wrestling shirts?
Yeah, I'm assuming I don't think I had very many, but I can
Hmm.
remember a couple pictures of shirts I had, and I remember
Yeah.
some of those really old wrestling figures I wish I still had, but they're kind of that
Do you have
rubbery.
any siblings?
I do. I have 2 sisters.
Okay.
They're twins, and they're 5 years younger than me.
Should I even ask if they're wrestling fans? Or is that a silly question?
No, so one is and one isn't.
Okay. Let me ask you another question. Do you like the one who is into wrestling more than your sister who doesn't like wrestling? And this could be breaking news.
No, it's both.
Okay, you like them, you love them equally.
Right.
Okay, that's fair.
We've all had our times where we talk more than others, but
Yeah, yeah.
right now we're
But you're not taking this moment to say, I love this sister more than the other.
I doubt any of them would watch it, but we'll say it safe and say love them both equally.
That's great. That's great. Um, okay, so did you ever go to shows like as you got, older into your teen years and such?
Yeah, so I remember in high school and maybe a few years after, I went to several WCW Nitro events.
And where would they come through?
They would come through Denver.
And then, so how far is that
So Denver was like
trip?
to get to downtown Denver where the venues are would be about an hour for me. So
Oh, it's not bad.
So we lived on. It was in Fort Collins, but we lived on the interstate, which so I-25 runs like right down, from Cheyenne, Fort Collins,
Yeah.
Denver, Colorado Springs. So we lived right on the interstate, so we didn't have that, 15-minute drive through town to get to the interstate. We were just right there, so it only took us about an hour to get down to like a venue.
That's not bad at all. And so did you? Who would you go with?
I remember I went with a group of friends a couple times, and then I went with my dad, one of his coworkers, a time or two.
How old were you when you went with your dad's coworker?
Probably we'll say 16-ish. And
I thought you were going to say like 6 or 7 years old. And I was going to say, do your parents know this person that well? Okay, so was there ever a point that you weren't into wrestling, or you kind of kept it quiet that you were into wrestling?
Yeah, probably I would say like a little after high school or into college, I kind of dropped off for a while. Didn't really keep up with the current product for a while. I still, would watch YouTube clips or old promos and stuff like that, but it was kind of
just your thing, like private thing.
Yeah, kind of college and girlfriends and stuff like that. It just,
yeah,
really liked it, except for one of my best friend who is still. We both kind of faded out, and then both got hardcore back into it.
Do you have children?
Yes.
Okay. Are they younger than 10 or over?
Younger. My daughter's 3.
Is she your oldest daughter?
Yeah. No.
Okay.
So I always I'm open to talk that. It's just always so we lost our first daughter at birth.
Oh.
So she would have been 5.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah. So that was so she'd be 5, and then our daughter Austin is 3.5.
Is she allowed to watch wrestling?
Yes.
I mean, okay, does she know what wrestling is, or is it just something she'll watch because it's on in being with you?
She knows what it is. Like she's sometimes super into it, sometimes not interested.
Mm-hmm.
But as she's kind of getting older, she's kind of a little less interested. But
do you have big plans for her as far as one day going to WrestleMania with you, or
I would like to take her to like an AEW event, or I think she would enjoy it. Like
in a couple. I mean, in a bunch of years.
I'm not sure kind of what age to
I
start.
think 16, because that way that there's a second driver just in case. There's a lot of pressure on you, like when you're with a 14-year-old who can't, or a 3-year-old who really couldn't pull off driving. So do you make it a point to sit down on Monday nights and watch wrestling, or keep up and watch things live, or do you record them, or just look on the internet?
So I try to always watch AEW Dynamite.
Okay.
And as far, I've just been kind of really busy with how it is having
with life.
A 3-year-old, working.
Yeah, totally.
Through the whole pandemic, like I work in a grocery store, so I've been, life hasn't really changed for me. Like if anything else, it's gotten crazier and busier. Like just working nonstop. And
can I ask you a question about the grocery store? Have you had incidents where people, because I see these all over YouTube, these Karen incidents where people come in without a mask and then flip out? Have you had any of those?
Not recently, but in the beginning we had to have someone like stand at the front door, count, tell
Sure.
people, oh, I'm sorry, you have to have a mask. So people in the beginning, when we were really enforcing it,
Uh-huh.
I was getting told "f you" at least multiple times a day. Like, yeah,
Oh
it
my
was pretty
God.
crazy in the beginning.
That's insane. I admittedly, I love the videos on YouTube. I watch them at least a few times a week, just because it's like, how are people have how do they have the balls to like just throw a mask on for 5 minutes and get your
Right.
groceries and walk out? Like everyone
And
else
then,
is doing, all you know is you're going to get in a horrible fight confrontation with people, you know? So I never
right.
understand that. So do you work long hours?
So it's usually only, an 8-hour shift, but
Oh, okay, not terrible. But you don't have to be there like when delivery comes in like the morning or anything.
no, so for the longest time I was like the 4 p.m. to 12:30 guy, like closing the
Okay,
store down. Then just
sure.
recently, the last about 3 months, I kind of transitioned into mornings. So
Oh, nice.
yeah, it's been awesome for family life and actually getting to see wrestling.
Yeah, yeah. Like I imagine your wife is happy, like because like you're there for bedtime and you know what I mean, like to
Yeah,
put
we
your
get to
daughter down.
cook and eat dinner together.
Yes.
My daughter a
I
book.
I for the longest time, like when I was working in accounting, um, I never had dinner with my kids because I wouldn't get home till 6:30, you know?
Yeah,
And I imagine, it's longer for you. But yeah, it makes a big difference, like on your psyche actually, to like have that time.
yeah. So now I'm home by like today. I was off at 1:30.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, it's nice.
Do you, during this, pandemic, were you allowed to, not that you would go on vacation, take time off?
You could, me personally. So here in Colorado, it kind of started for us like second week of March is kind of when
Okay.
things first started getting locked down and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then the stores got just so crazy that we just became shorthanded and everything. So I didn't take a vacation or I didn't take like a day off besides my normal 2 days
Yeah.
until like July, I want to say.
Oh, wow.
And then I had, like I think I had like 4 or 5 weeks of vacation. So from there on out, I just basically took like a week off a month for the next
Yeah, yeah. Oh,
like,
that's
3 or 4 months.
fine.
So
You
it was
deserve it.
nice.
Jeez. Because I can't imagine how nuts it must have been. Like, were you guys running out of like the sanitizing stuff and toilet paper?
Yeah, so that took like a few days, and then that
Oh
stuff
my
was
God.
gone.
And did people get angry about that too?
We were kind of a we're definitely a calmer store, slower
Mhm.
store, so we didn't have everyone, a lot of regulars and a lot of older people, so we really didn't have any issues with people getting angry.
And would you say percentage wise how many people are nice and how many people are jerks?
I would probably say in my store, I'd probably say like good 80% are nice.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's
So
pretty
yeah,
good.
for the most part, but those are those couple you get can definitely
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Outweigh the 80% of the other
it's like
people who are so nice.
some of it are
Jeez.
mildly rude, others are just full on
Oh God, you work for
good.
me.
Right.
Okay. Do you have any dark secrets you want to reveal today? You hide it? Did you bury something somewhere you want to get off your chest? Anything like that?
No, I haven't buried anyone recently or anything like that.
Oh, okay, cool. Like in the last 10 years. Perfect.
Right, right.
Who would you say is your favorite wrestler of all time and currently? And it could be multiple.
It's it's hard of all time. I mean, I still kind of go lean towards Hulk Hogan just because it was a big part of growing up when you're a
Sure.
kid, and for the longest from when I was 4 or 5 till through the NWO days, he was kind of my favorite.
Yeah, yeah, me too.
And then fading away and coming back, I've been right now definitely love Kenny Omega and the Young
Hmm.
Bucks. So it was kind of awesome seeing them like an
I feel
AEW before it was AEW, kind of seeing it all get
totally. As they all came like together and became AEW.
right. And then I'm a big Shinsuke Nakamura fan, Kevin Owens.
The guys who can actually wrestle, really put
Right.
on awesome matches, but don't get the
Yeah.
spotlight.
When my
But
friend was kind of getting me back into wrestling, so he was like, "Hey, you need to check out this guy Kevin Steen, El
yeah,
Generico, Prince Devitt, Brian Danielson." So like kind of before they all came over,
yeah.
he was like, "Hey, you need to go, look these guys up." And
I mean, those guys were ready to go. I mean, they didn't WWE didn't push them all the way to the top right away, but like those guys were great. I mean, when they came into the company, they were some of the best wrestlers in the company already.
right, yeah, for
What
sure.
is the best show you've ever been to?
Um, I would probably say I went to an AEW Dynamite in Denver. It was
Okay.
2 weeks bef- before basically they shut down.
Okay.
Before, so they went to Denver, Salt Lake City, and then then it all moved to Jacksonville.
When you would go to shows, did you try get ringside, or are you just happy wherever you can get a seat?
I
Or like,
was
is there a certain point like I'm not going to go if I have to sit in these seats? I'm just
I
going to
was
watch on TV.
typically happy wherever just to be there. I didn't get to go to too many. Like I said, I think I
Hmm.
went to like maybe 3 Nitros, and then kind of later on, about three or
Hmm.
4 years ago, I went to a SmackDown, a
Okay.
WWE house show, and then I've been to Dynamite.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Yep.
I'm the same way. As long as I can see, like, then I
For
don't care if
Dynamite,
I'm
though, for Dynamite,
300
we
or
did want to
100.
get good seats. So we were hard camera side, 5 rows from the ring.
Really? Did
Yeah,
you see yourself?
so if you watch it back, we're like dead center of the camera, like all night long.
Oh, that's hilarious. Were you taking stills of the of the screen?
No, so you couldn't really see it too much on the big screen, but when you
Hmm.
go like watch it back, like you're just like.
Yeah, yeah. It stands out in your eyes.
So when you know how Moxley comes through the crowd, he had just won the belt like 3 or 4 days before at Revolution.
Oh,
So
wow.
he
Oh,
came down
yeah.
through the crowd, and then he did his crowd entrance and came like shoulder to shoulder with me, passed us by, and then like backed up and like went right by us again. So that was
Oh,
pretty cool. Like
cool. That's
seeing the giant
awesome.
title like you know a foot
That's
away from you.
amazing. I mean, that's a thing that not many people get to have that, experience. Not many at all.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Doug, I'm going to let you go shortly. As always, though, I have three would you rather questions. Would you
Sure.
be interested in answering them?
Yeah, of course. Hey,
Okay.
what? Do you mind if I go into one small thing real quick?
Not go into
Okay.
many small things.
Okay. Yeah, I got plenty of time if you do. But so there's also this local show in Denver that I went to a lot. It's called Lucha Libre and Laughs.
Oh, okay. Let's
So
hear
it's
this.
awesome. It's at this little theater called the Oriental Theater. It's
Okay.
kind of and they have the ring set up on like an elevated stage, like they would like a band.
Okay.
So you only have like 3 sides of the ring, and basically only like one side you can like dive off of.
Okay. Got it.
So it was awesome because they would use like local talent from Denver,
Okay.
but then the promoter would also always bring in like 3 to 5 like indie stars,
Hmm.
and then there was a stand-up comedian in between each match.
Oh, for laughs.
Yes,
Hmm.
and they did the commentary they did out loud, and it was
Oh,
mixed.
cool.
It was a combination of wrestling and mostly comedy. So
How did you hear about this?
I have a friend that lives in Denver, and I think just somewhere on Facebook we saw it.
Uh-huh.
And so guys like Colt Cabana, Chuck Taylor, Orange
Oh, so legit
Cassidy,
guys.
yeah. So they would bring in. I saw Orange Cassidy. I had no idea who he was. It was like 3 years before AEW.
Uh-huh.
He's wrestling Mike Seidel, who's now
Really?
coming over a little in AEW.
Yeah, yeah, totally.
And no idea who Orange Cassidy was, and just instantly just fell in love with him. He's just
That's cool finding someone on the indie scene that you really like before they like hit it big.
Right.
So, excuse me, how often are they running shows?
So before pre-COVID, they were probably doing it every other month or so.
Okay, like on the weekends?
Yeah, so they'd
Okay.
run it on like a Friday or Saturday night.
Now, I don't know if she would go for this. Would your wife ever be like and say, hey, you say to her like, hey, let's go on a date night Saturday. We're gonna go watch wrestling. Would she be okay with that, or is that not?
She went to it with us once and
Wasn't her cup of
wasn't
tea?
wasn't a fan. She says she hates wrestling, but she did go to the Dynamite with us, and had an awesome time, and would definitely go to any other AEW show that we go to.
What's funny to me is my wife's the same way. She's better than wrestling. She's very hoity-toity, but she doesn't realize she knows a ton about wrestling. She has no idea that. But
She
like,
definitely knows a bit more.
yeah, like she knows who Finn Balor is, but she would never, like, if you said to her, name 5 wrestlers, she probably couldn't, but she knows that these actually, if it's on
Right.
TV, but whatever. So are those shows, are they like 2-3 hour long, like nice shows?
Yeah, they're about 2 hours. So you get 5 matches and 4 comedians.
Oh, so there's a comedian in between each match, a different,
Yeah, so
oh, that's awesome.
So yeah, so
Do they get a good turnout?
a little comedian comes in. What's up?
Do they get a good turnout?
They do, and it's kind of a weird crowd. It's like a quarter wrestling crowd and like 3/4 of
Stand-up comedy fans?
comedy. Like I'm misplacing the term, but of the type of people that would show up, but just
So most of the people are above wrestling?
yeah, they're just there for they don't really know. So it's cool, like when you're talking to the wrestlers afterwards. The first time I went, I had like an old like Shinsuke Nakamura's first NXT shirt, and you can tell they see me and my friend with our shirts, and like like,
oh, that's cool.
Hey guys, hey, great shirt, thanks for coming. So they know that.
Oh,
they
that's
know that
awesome.
What's up. And
so when's the next show?
I think they might be having one in a month or so, but I haven't gone to. They've only had 1 or 2 since COVID.
Do they put their shows on IWTV? Do you know?
I'm not sure, but I know you can find it on YouTube.
Oh, okay, perfect. So afterwards I can go look for
Yeah.
that. That sounds like what I'm doing tonight now.
Right? It's pretty cool. They've actually had a match that was actually on AEW Dark Elevation.
Oh, really?
So they had both Mike and Matt Sydal. So Mike was, I don't know how he was affiliated, but he was at almost every one that I ever went to.
Oh, wow.
And then Royce Isaacs, I don't know if you're familiar with the name. He was the first tag team champion in NWA. And he spent some time in World Champion Wrestling of Hollywood, whatever that one is.
Yeah, World Champion. The World Champions Wrestling out of Hollywood. Yeah.
So it was the Sydals versus Royce Isaac and his big tag team partner at the time. They had a match at the Lucha Libre in Laughs.
Oh,
and that
cool.
was actually, they had that match on AW Dark Elevation last week.
Oh, that's impressive. That's really cool. Okay. I don't know if you heard, but when my oldest son came by the door, I ignored him. But let me ask you these would you rather questions. All right. Would you rather only be able to dress like a pimp, with the cane and the hat and flamboyant coat, or an Amish person?
Ooh.
For the rest of your life?
We'll go with pimp.
Okay. Nice.
We're dressing up.
Yeah, totally. You got style. Would you rather spend time with your free time with your wife or your best friend?
You have to say wife.
Okay. Yeah, I know you have to say that. And then finally, would you rather only be able to eat while laying flat or only be able to eat out of a dog food bowl? All your meals.
Well, I'm gonna say flat.
Okay, okay. Because the dog food, you could have like a steak, but you have
Right.
to, eat it out with a fork and knife, but out of the dog bowl, and you're probably sitting akimbo on the floor.
Right.
All right, well, you pass. Those were the three
Yeah.
answers.
Yeah.
Doug, is there anything you'd like to plug before we end this fine evening?
Just everyone check out Pro Wrestling Junkies. I'm sure, hopefully, everyone already does. I got my Pro
Yeah, I was
Wrestling.
going to say that's awesome. Thank you. That's
Um,
great.
uh,
Well,
I'm mostly over there on Twitter, so check us out on Twitter. And I'm always
if you're
looking
on
at the Facebook groups, but
if you're on Pro Wrestling Junkies, you're obviously going to see Doug Martin's the product of his work. Doug, thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it. It was great talking to you, and we'll have you on down the line.
yeah, definitely. I've recently got into the wrestling cards and some memorabilia. I've got like 50 plus shirts, so maybe down the line.
Okay,
Maybe,
oh, not maybe, definitely. Let's look at that schedule soon. All right, cool. That sounds awesome. All right, well, take care. Have a great night, and we'll talk soon.
all right, likewise. Thanks, Brad.
All right, my pleasure. Bye.